with Lord Melvyn Bragg, Jane Asher, chef Michelle Roux Jr. and with music from up-and-coming star Callum Beattie. It is a busy morning on Weekend with Aled Jones in 5 minutes, right after the latest ITV News.
Good morning, I'm Sally Biddulph. The Mayor of London is calling on Theresa May to appoint commissioners to run Kensington and Chelsea Council after its leader stepped down over what he called the perceived failings following the Grenfell Tower disaster. In a letter to the Prime Minister, Sadiq Khan said it was clear the local community had lost trust in the council and that the administration was not fit for purpose. Mike Griffiths reports.
Should he resign?
The pressure became too much to ignore. Nicholas Paget-Brown resigned yesterday. It followed widespread criticism of his council's refurbishment of Grenfell Tower and its handling of the disaster.
This council has also been criticised for failing to answer all the questions that people have. That is properly a matter for the public inquiry. As council leader, I have to accept my share of responsibility for these perceived failings. As of yesterday,
Mr Paget-Brown's decision to shut down a cabinet meeting on Thursday night earned him a rebuke from Downing Street.
Absolute fiasco. This is why I am calling for your resignation.
In the hours before the resignation, the Mayor of London said a wholesale change of leadership was needed.
There's been examples in the past where councils have not been fit for purpose. We saw that in Tower Hamlets. Central government has stepped in. If it was OK then, why not now?
In his letter to the Prime Minister last night, Mr Khan went further. It is self-evident the leadership of the council has lost the trust of residents, he said. Without this, the council cannot effectively serve them or meet its responsibilities. It is also clear that a change in leadership from amongst the existing councillors will not address this situation. It may aggravate it further as it fails to address the fundamental breakdown in trust. He's been supported by the Labour leader. Jeremy Corbyn has written his own letter, urging the Prime Minister to widen the scope of the public inquiry. For whoever takes over the running of the council, regaining the trust of local residents won't be easy. Mike Griffiths, ITV News.
A former senior government advisor has suggested that Theresa May has made Brexit Secretary David Davis's job more difficult by setting too stringent red lines for him in negotiations with the EU. In an interview with The Times, James Chapman, who was Davis's chief of staff until the election, suggested her stance has hamstrung the negotiation process. The Chinese president has sworn in the new leader of Hong Kong as the territory marks 20 years since the handover of power from British rule. In a strongly worded speech, President Xi Jinping warned that Beijing will not tolerate any challenge to its authority as Carrie Lam became the region's fourth chief executive. Minor clashes broke out as pro-democracy activists and pro-Beijing groups taunted each other. A gunman has opened fire at a hospital in New York, killing a female doctor and injuring 6 other people. It's believed the attacker, who was reportedly a former doctor, then killed himself after he opened fire at the Bronx Lebanon Hospital yesterday. Authorities say the shooting was workplace-related and not an act of terror. The number of smokers in the UK has dropped by almost 2 million since the smoking ban came into effect 10 years ago. Cancer research says the ban, which stops smoking in public places, has led to the lowest rates of smokers ever recorded. The number of young people taking up the habit has almost halved. And singer Adele has said she is devastated after being forced to cancel the last 2 nights of her tour. The star said she damaged her vocal cords and has been told to postpone both shows at Wembley Stadium this weekend following medical advice. On a post shared on social media, she said to say I'm heartbroken would be an understatement. Let's have a quick look at the papers, and Grenfell dominates. The Guardian leads with the resignations at Kensington and Chelsea Council, as does the Times with the headline Tower Fire Council in disarray. The Independent splashes on the same story, but says campaigners are calling for the whole council to come under government control. The Telegraph turns its attention to Brexit, saying the city must be given priority in any economic plans. And the Mail claims the wage bill for the Foreign Aid Department has increased by 40% since the Tories came to power in 2010. That's all for now. We'll be back with a lunchtime update at 1:15. Until then, bye-bye.